Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Module 1 of the Medical Certificate Program at Beckman High School. I'm so excited that you have made the decision to learn more about the medical field, and it's an honor for me to teach you through these videos. For those of you who have had my class, hello, positive attitude and science is awesome. And for those of you who have not had my class, hi, my name is Mr. Chow, and it's nice to meet you. Before we start, and I want to point out that I'm proud of each and every one of you because not only are you invested in our 4A's at Beckman High School, academics, athletics, arts, and activities, but you're taking the time to learn more about maybe a potential future career in medicine and or healthcare and or science. And honestly, that's the whole point of why I created this 3-year program at Beckman High School, because when I went here as a student, I didn't have these opportunities just to learn more about exactly what the medical field is. So whether or not you know exactly, hey, I want to become a doctor, or you know what, maybe, maybe not, stay in the program. I can guarantee that this program will not only teach you about science and about your own health, but it'll educate and inspire you. So here's what we're going to do. So over the next 10 modules, we're going to study 10 different systems here, and some of them go together, as you can see, starting with today, the cardiovascular and circulatory system. And why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because in the spring semester, as we can see here, you're going to have 10 guest speakers, and these are all specialists in these 10 body systems. And I really want you to prepare yourself educationally so that when they come, you can ask them questions and you can follow along with what they're saying. Look, I'm going to try to keep these videos as short as possible for me and you. But here are my goals for each session. 1, you're going to get a quick overview of the body system. And 2, I really want to tell you how this applies to the actual real world in terms of which specialties deal with the body systems and just things that you may have heard about. All right. So here we go. Are we excited? Yeah, yeah, woo! All right, here we go. Let's start off with a description of the circulatory system. It's an organ system that circulates blood to and from your cells. Why? To transport oxygen, to deliver nutrients, and to remove waste, such as carbon dioxide. So as you can see here, it's pretty important that all of our cells get the oxygen and blood. There's 3 main parts that I'm going to quickly talk about. 1, the heart. 2, a series of blood vessels. And 3, the blood that flows through them. So I'm going to do a quick crash course right here. So this guy is really important right here. 100,000 times per day it beats. Because of it, we're able to live. And it's, in my opinion, one of the most important muscles in your body, if not the most important muscle. If I can just quickly show you a video that I saw here on YouTube. Check this out here. Here is your heart actually in its real life form. Now this is part of an organ transplant, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Just look at it beat, etc. So that's what we're going to be talking about first today. Okay, so if I can just go ahead and go here. Let's go back to my presentation. Oops, sorry. All right. All right, so let's get started. All right, so your heart pretty much has 4 different chambers. All right, the top ones are atria and the bottom ones are ventricles. And each chamber is separated by a valve, in which we'll talk about. If you take a look at it here, almost every single figure in your book or online looks like this. And what's cool about it is you're actually looking at a person's heart. So their right would be actually your left. So here we'd start with the top chambers, which are the chambers that carry blood. And this is the right atrium. So once again, your left is their right, the right atrium. And then we go down to the pumps. And this is the right ventricle. Okay. After the right ventricle, here we see the left atrium and then the left ventricle. And all of these are separated by the atrial septum, which is the tissue that separates the chambers. Okay. Now, we also have to think about, why is it blue and red? Is blood actually blue? No, it's not. It's always red, whether or not it's in your body or outside of your body. So in short, the blue in your textbook and online and in these diagrams, they depict deoxygenated blood, and the red ones show oxygenated blood. So if we take a look at the pathway that blood takes throughout your body, we can take a look at this diagram. Okay, so let me kind of narrate this the best I can to you. If you take a look at number 11, that is your right atrium, which is one of the chambers of your heart, and that holds blood. And in short, it's going to go down to your right ventricle, number 1, which then, boom, boom, will pump the deoxygenated blood where to receive oxygen? That's right, your lungs, and that's number 3. So we're going to talk about how the circulatory system works with the respiratory system in later modules. After the blood receives oxygen, it's going to come back to your heart. That's right, back to your heart, number 4, and that is your left atrium. And then it's going to go down to the pumping mechanism, number 5, which is your left ventricle, boom, boom. And as you can see here, it pumps to your body to deliver oxygen and nutrients and remove CO2 from your cells, tissues, and organs. Okay, and what's cool about this is all this happens in about a minute. Okay, but if you're exercising, most likely that's going to happen a little bit quicker. Okay, so pretty cool basic pathway. If you can take a look here on the top in my little pathway here, I talk about the vena cava, and the vena cava is the largest vein bringing blood back to your heart, and that's number 9 and number 10 on the picture that I have here. And if you take a look at the largest artery, and that's the aorta, which is right there shown in the diagram. Now, in addition to that, in class we've done this. So ultimately, to make it very simple, blood goes from your heart to your lungs, back to your heart, and then to your body. So that's the ongoing mechanism. Here's the basic anatomy of your heart. And if you want, you can study it more. Let's talk about valves. So why are there valves? Why are there heart valves, etc.? Well, in short, valves prevent the backflow of blood from happening. You want it to only go one way. Now, whether or not you have heart disease or it's genetic or just something has happened, there are chances in which the backflow of blood can happen. And that's where heart surgeries and heart valve implants come in, etc. So we're done with the heart. Now let's go on to blood vessels. About a couple years ago, I took a course at UC Irvine about graduate anatomy. So it's a graduate anatomy course about the different systems, and that's where like my interest really started. I was like, wow, this is really cool. I love studying the human body. But our midterm pretty much was to write out all of the arteries and veins of the body. And as you can see here from this picture, there's a lot. So to sum it all up, there's 3 types of blood vessels: arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries, let's start there. They bring blood away from the heart, usually carry oxygenated blood, except the one going to the lungs, the pulmonary artery. As you can see here, they have very thick walls. Arteries have very thick walls because there's so much pressure coming from the heart, and the walls need to withstand that. The aorta is the largest one coming away, but here's the thing I want you to know. The aorta brings blood to the top part of your body and to the bottom part, as well as back to the heart. As you can see here, it's called the coronary artery. Capillaries are important because they're small vessels that allow for the diffusion, so the passing of oxygen and carbon dioxide through its walls. They're so thin that they allow that, not like arteries and veins. Veins, they bring blood back towards the heart. They carry usually deoxygenated blood, except the pulmonary vein. And what's cool about this, if you think about it, is how do veins bring blood from your feet against gravity back towards your heart? Well, they also have valves that prevent the backflow of blood. And I remember as a little kid looking at my little veins right here and thinking, whoa, blood is blue. It looks like it's blue. Actually, no. If you research it, the light coming down and reflecting off of the tissues makes it appear as if it's blue, but your blood is red. Okay, so what's cool about this? The red is the artery, and then arteries go into capillaries, which are connected to your tissues, organs, and cells, and that's where the oxygen and CO2 can diffuse across. And guess what? Now when the blood has given away all of its oxygen, it's going to go back towards the heart via a vein, which is the blue vessel there. We also talked about atherosclerosis, which is where fat buildup happens in arteries, which can lead to heart attacks. The basic definition of a heart attack is when your heart does not get enough oxygen. And that can happen for many different reasons, atherosclerosis being one of them. Now let's talk about the blood that flows through our circulatory system. About 4 to 6 liters of your body, about 8% of your total body mass. As you can see, blood is red. At UC Irvine, one of the cool things that we actually did too was we spun blood in a centrifuge. Is this machine that spins these tubes at a very fast rate. Now why do we need to do that? Well, in short, when you spin blood, you separate all the components based on weight. And when you do that, you really take a look at what's really inside of blood. It's not all red. Well, yeah, we got about 45% red blood cells, but we also have 55% plasma. And then about 1% are white blood cells and platelets. Plasma, I'm not going to go into it too much. Mostly water, 90%. There's 3 main types of blood cells that you should know about. There's red blood cells, which carry oxygen throughout your body, and they have a protein called hemoglobin. There's white blood cells that are like your immune response cells that fight back against bacteria and foreign invaders. And then you've got the platelets. Whenever you get a cut, we have blood clotting factors that are essential in stopping our blood from flowing out. Okay, so we can go all into it, but ultimately it's a quick crash course. Here are some real world examples that I want to quickly talk about. Here are specialists that work with the cardiovascular system. So this year, maybe in the spring, we're going to take a look at a couple of these. Last year, a cardiologist came in, and this year I'm going to try to get a couple more. Last year, also a biomedical engineer came in. According to the Texas Heart Institute, a cardiologist are doctors who specialize in diagnosing or treating diseases. Okay, so these are the physicians that you might ask about different risk factors for heart disease, etc. So these are the people that can diagnose you and give you more information. Anesthesiologists, what do? Well, in short, they are MDs as well, and they work in the OR. And in short, during your heart surgery, they're going to go ahead and give you medicines to go ahead and put you asleep and to monitor your health throughout the surgery. They also take a look at different medicines to administer for this process. Pathologists, these are MDs as well, but they also work, but these guys or girls work in a research lab, and they test all kinds of specimens to find out why disease start, what makes diseases worse, and how they can be treated. Radiologists, maybe you've heard of these guys or girls. They're doctors that use these different techniques, CT scans, PET scans, X-rays. They take a look at MRIs, but in short, they specialize in taking a look at all these techniques to diagnose heart and blood vessel diseases. Surgeons, this is pretty intense. If you want to take a look at a heart surgery, you can actually do it on YouTube. And once again, I warn you before you do, it's pretty intense. These surgeons operate on your heart to repair damage on the system. And wow, it's pretty intense. So take a look at it if you dare. All right. Researchers. We need researchers in every single field and in every single systems. They're constantly finding new treatments to improve the quality of life so we can deal with these different disorders and or issues. Biomedical engineers. Okay. They work with physicians. And as you can see here on the top right on the screen, this is actually a heart valve. This is a heart valve that they'll actually put into your heart if your valve is not operating correctly. Okay, so they study all that. If you want to go above and beyond, all right, and you're interested, take a look at some of these interesting examples of heart surgeries. There's heart transplants, there's valve repairs, there's aneurysms, there's open heart surgeries, there's revascularization, lasers, and there's angioplasty. How do you keep your heart healthy? So as I close this little module, and I appreciate you listening for the past 13 minutes, there's really 4 things, and this is according to healthcare.utah.edu. Don't smoke, maintain a healthy weight, and eat a healthy diet, and finally exercise regularly. Okay, so as you can see here on the screen, 1 in 4 Americans die from heart disease. And as you can see here, all of it is preventable if you go and follow those 4 steps. I'm going to close it off with this little funny image I saw. This is from bloodpressureuk.org. It says, change your salty ways. And I just thought it was really funny. But if you really look at it, the more salt you consume, your kidneys will hold on to more water. And we'll talk about that in the renal system module. But in short, this affects your blood pressure. And your blood pressure slowly increases, and it puts a strain on your kidneys, arteries, heart, and even brain. So I hope you enjoyed this session. We're going to have a lot of fun over the next 10 modules. Stay in the program. You have till December 30th or the end of December to complete all of the modules. Okay, thank you so much for